The linear path to success is an illusion. Most people work a job they don't like, spend their money on things they don't want, and wonder why they feel so empty. So, no wonder we feel behind. No wonder we feel lost. We are following a path built for a world that no longer exists. Graduate, get a job, climb the ladder, retire. How many people who are doing this seem genuinely alive and happy? So we distract ourselves, we pretend to optimize and consume even more content until we break down. But there is a way out. It's time to allow yourself to be who you are and stop pretending to be someone else. Allow yourself to build a life that fits you and not a life that looks good on paper. In this video, I want to show you exactly why and how you are stuck and what to do about this. First, we will look into different mindsets that people develop when they are following the traditional path that leave them unhappy and unfulfilled. And there are usually three patterns people fall into. And after that, I will introduce you to a new mindset that will change the way you see things. It will change the way you act in this world. It's a completely different way of thinking about progress and success. Think about two forces that drive human behavior like no others. That is curiosity and ambition. Very powerful motivations and very important for what I'm about to talk about. Oh, and in case you're wondering where I am at the moment, because there's so much stuff here in the back, I am at a friend's place since I'm traveling my home country, Germany, and visiting friends and family because I'm usually staying in Indonesia most of the year. So every week I'm in a different room and I'm pretty happy so far. I have really nice rooms and this one is very interesting as well. You see a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, pretty interesting to film from different places every week. Anyway, let's continue with the video. Curiosity is your desire to explore, to learn, and to understand. And ambition is your drive to achieve, to build, to make progress. It's what pushes you to set goals and to work hard to achieve those goals. And all of us have either high curiosity or low curiosity or something in the middle. And we also find ourselves somewhere in the spectrum of high ambition and low ambition. And that will determine the mindsets that we are talking about. This mindset quadrant model is a model that I got from the researcher Anne-Laure Le Cunff. I found her talking about this in an interview. You can see this in the link below in the description. And also she talks about this in her own book, Tiny Experiments. And it's great stuff. I find it really interesting and enlightening what she talks about. If you want to learn more about that, you will find it down below in the description, the sources. So people with low curiosity and low ambition, they live in a world where nothing is important and nothing is worth pursuing. And work is a means to make money, something that should be over as fast as possible, while they spend their free time criticizing others or even make fun of them if they're too curious or too ambitious. If you are highly ambitious but have low curiosity, then you display the perfectionist mindset. Essentially, they hope to feel happy once they got successful. So they avoid making mistakes, failure at all costs, because any slip would mean that they're not good enough. Perfectionists sacrifice their curiosity because they're afraid of wandering off the linear path to success. Okay, so what if you have a lot of curiosity but low ambition? Then you belong to the camp of the escapists. I don't even know how do you say that word, escapist.
Escapist.
Escapist, that is the word. We have the escapist mindset. These people know how a better life looks like, but it is only in their mind, right? They don't move toward the vision they have. You know, they might read, plan, and daydream a lot and talk about their plans excitedly. And then they sit down to watch Netflix for the rest of the evening or resort to other distractions like shopping or doing research instead of doing the thing that actually moves the needle. And I gotta admit, if I would have to find myself somewhere here in the spectrum, I think I'm kind of slipping in and out the escapist mindset here and there. I think that is more of my default mindset. I was always curious, but struggle with doing the thing, right? I like to get distracted with research, or I love to just learn and dream. So that is personally something I have to focus on. I know that I am more into that trap. So I know where I have to move to improve for myself. And it's important to remember that these mindsets are very fluid. That is totally normal. We, of course, see the world differently depending on where we are and what we're doing. I do think that there is something that is more like a default mindset that you just apply mostly to the world, to your world. And you are still not a perfectionist by trade or a critical, cynical person just by personality, right? So these are fluid. You can change them according to your environment, but you can also improve them and develop them into another kind of mindset, another way to see the world. And that's what we are about to do now. So where do I actually want to go? What is the mindset I should also strive for, like all the other mindsets? And that is the experimental mindset. People with this mindset are driven by their curiosity, they ask questions, and they direct their energy towards finding answers. For them, failures are opportunities to learn and improve, so they seek ways in which they can fail and find more answers until they finally succeed. They are not afraid to forge their own path, to walk into the unknown. The linear path of success is an illusion, and experimentation is the only way to find your path. So fall in love with the endless strings of questions that you can answer and then share your insights with others. Curiosity and ambition drive experimentation, and experimentation makes you more curious and ambitious. It's a beautiful cycle of growth. Right? And as you can see, it's not the negative way of ambition. It's not, let's just climb up the ladder. Let's just be a hustle bro. No. Maybe you need to reframe what ambition means or find your own word for it. For me, it means to have the will to move forward, to do something, to change something in my life for the better, something that aligns with me, and to be willing to take action. Ambitious people are able to take action. So here are the problems that you're facing on your path from these older negative mindsets to the experimental mindset. They don't all have to apply to you, but just look inward when I tell you about these problems and see if you identify with some of them. You are too afraid of uncertainty. You think life should happen in expectable ways. You are constantly stressed, overwhelmed, or tired of your life, so you create habits like doom scrolling, binge watching, and pulling all-nighters at work. So you choose a path that looks like everyone else's. You learn to think like everyone else. You act like everyone else. And you rely on habits, rigid systems, and automatic responses to deal with life. Let go of the idea that you need to know what the next 10 years look like. You can't know that, and you don't need to. And you probably already recognized yourself in one of these mindsets, right? Maybe you are a mix. That's normal. We shift between different mindsets. So the experimental mindset looks at life and asks, hey, what can I do to change what I'm doing at the moment? What can I actively try to gain insights so I can make a new decision based on action, based on real feedback in this world? There's one very practical way to get started and to kind of shift into this new mindset, and that is by action. So I'm going to show you a framework that will show you exactly how you will do it in 4 simple steps, and you don't have to change your life completely. I will just suggest to you a little project that you can do in order to shift towards a new way of seeing the world. So let's start with the first step. Number 1, study yourself. Before you can change direction, you need to notice where you are. Examine how you feel about your situation, what you think about the environment, and what's actually going on within you. So every now and then you sit down and you write down your observations. Take time to reflect at the end of the day or the end of the week and ask yourself questions like, what gave me energy today? What drained me? What draws my attention? This stage is just you observing your surrounding and yourself. There's no pressure here, no results you need to achieve. Just simply observe what's going on. And once you've done that, you can move on to step number 2, and that is ask a research question. Don't worry, this is not like a super strict scientific method here. It just borrows from the scientific method. So when we want to see results and we want to focus on something, we should ask a question that directs our attention towards the insight that we want to have. So once you spend time observing yourself and how you feel across different moments, what topics energize you, what situations frustrate you, you will begin to notice patterns. Beautiful things, these patterns. They are so valuable. So now you turn one of these observations into a research question or a combination of different observations. Something that is specific and meaningful enough for you to explore in your daily life, right? And this is different from setting a big linear goal like become a designer or launch a business. Because this is just overwhelming, right? Just another big, huge project. Let's look at some examples. Maybe you've noticed that you dread giving presentations. So your question might be, how can I become more confident? Or you feel anxious most mornings. You can ask something like, how can I feel more grounded before going to work? This is a question that will already get your juices flowing, right? You will always already look for a way to answer these questions, which is exactly the point. Because the goal is to start investigating, to narrow your focus into a specific area of your life that you want to change, where you want to find new answers and new insights. So once you have a question, you can design a simple experiment. You will commit to a pact with yourself. And how that works, I will tell you now in step number 3, run the experiment. What I love about experimentation is that nothing feels like failure anymore, right? Because there's no right or wrong. There's only information. There's only movement, only learning. And you don't need a 5-year plan or anything like that. You just need this question and a commitment and a short window of time to actually do the experiment. Maybe you will commit to writing something every morning for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Maybe you record yourself explaining an idea and share it online. Maybe you wake up an hour early and simply observe how that changes your mood, attention, and energy. The most important thing here is to get moving, because movement creates momentum, obviously, and this gives you feedback in return. So by doing something out there, you get feedback about how you act, how the world around you changes, and how you change. You gather data, external data. This can be data like classical data online, like a watch time and views and likes and clicks and all that other nonsense. But most importantly, there's data within us. Like if I know if something feels right, that's also data, right? If I know this activity energizes me, that is data, right? If you are a numbers person, then I would recommend you to keep track of your energy levels. I don't do that. I just feel what is right for me. So I honestly usually just listen how things feel like and what energy it gives me. Find anything that really works for you. But when you create this project, there's a few things that are important for you to keep in mind. An experiment is something very personal, especially something like this. It's not scientific, right? So you will experiment with how you experiment, right? So there's no right or wrong here. You will have to decide how you want to experiment. But here are a few pointers that can help you to create your first project. I think the project should feel purposeful and not in a grand like life purpose kind of sense, but it should feel meaningful to you, like you're doing something that matters to you, like you're learning something important. Also, the project should be actionable, right? It's something that you can do right now. So you shouldn't wait, you shouldn't overplan, you shouldn't do research about it. It should be something that you can just act upon every day. And also this project should be repeatable. So it's something that you can stick to for a longer period of time, a daily habit, a daily action for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, however long you want to do this. And finally, it should be trackable. You should be able to measure what you're doing, even if it's something simple as, did I do it today? Okay, check. Well, then that's a measurement. Oh, and very important is as well, this experiment should have a duration. It has a specific start point, a date when you start, and an end date. I will publish 1 video every week for the next 2 months. I will go to bed at the same time every day for 1 month. I will read for 20 minutes every day for 2 weeks, right? So here you have the duration in there, you have the activity, how often you want to do it. And of course, these experiments can easily turn into a new healthy habit that moves you forward and moves you toward your purpose. So if your experiment is over and you want to continue that as a habit, there's a little trick I want to recommend you, and that is finding a minimum viable action for the habit. So once this experiment is done and you want to do this long term, you want to make sure that you stick with this routine, right? That you do it no matter how motivated and unmotivated you are. And to make sure that you can always cross this habit off your list every day, you want to make it as easy as possible to do it. So when you want to read 20 minutes a day, make the minimum viable habit read 1 page, for example. And then you can stop or you can continue, because this way you can keep the habit no matter what, because it's just important to keep it in the mind, to just cross it off the list and have the sense of achievement every day. But also it creates momentum. Once you sit down and you actually do the thing, you usually stick with it, right? So that's also some magic that happens. You just have to trick your brain a little bit. But that's just a side comment here. Most important is that after the experiment, you want to come to some sort of conclusion. So step number 4 is the check-in. So once the experiment is done, you want to look inside again and check in with yourself and ask questions like, what did I learn? What surprised me? What energized me? This is also a part that most people skip, but that's where you get your direction from, by actually looking at the data at the end of your project. Because if you never pause to reflect, you will miss the signals and you will miss the data your life is actually trying to give you, right? So keep your eyes perked and your ears, keep your eyes perked. No, your ears perked and your eyes open. That's how you say it. Still learning English. So there's no wrong answer here, right? It's you collecting data and finding answers for yourself. So what matters is that you listen to yourself and that you know something that you didn't know before. This is the experimental mindset. This is what keeps you flexible in this ever-changing world. You will remain adaptable. This will make you irreplaceable and more fulfilled in this ever-changing world, no matter what you do. You can take the time for these experiments as a worker, even if you work for someone else in the office. It will be harder because you have less free time, but you can still find time every evening, every morning, every weekend to do these things and to gather insights. This can also be a wonderful way to explore how you want to start your own business if you haven't done so already, or to venture and try new products that you want to offer or services, or finally get that social media account going that you have been planning for years. Also a great way to get started, because remember, the linear path is an illusion. And I hope now you know why you have felt lost following it. And you have a framework that will help you to find your own way. And I know already from all the work that I've done, most people will watch this and they will go back to their routines, to their unhealthy habits, stuck with what they know. They will wait for the perfect moment, the right opportunity, and the guaranteed outcome. But let me tell you, that doesn't exist. But a small percentage is smarter than that. They will actually try this. They will pick one thing they're curious about. They will write down a simple statement. They will write down a simple commitment. Follow through for 2 weeks. Make it 2 months. They will pay attention to what happens and then design their next experiment based on what they've learned. And over time, these experiments add up, and each one of them will teach you something about how you work and what you want, and what energizes you. And this is how change happens. This is how you change your life. Not by just one huge big thing that will overwhelm you, but by little small steps every day where you gather some insights, Your life is an experiment, and the results are everywhere. So start tomorrow, start small, and start anywhere. Just start. All right, if you enjoyed that, leave a like, give me a comment if you have any thoughts that you want to share. I really appreciate you being here with me and following through. There's a little story I want to share with you. If you're interested in that, I left it for the end of the video as a little bonus. Here's how I actually found my way through experimentation, and I didn't follow a very strict plan. I want to show you how this can be without following a strict framework. When I started with doing content, it was a couple years ago, I actually started doing TikTok, and all I had was the curiosity of how does it feel to do content. I just wanted to make videos. That's all I knew. For years, my whole life, I was drawn to YouTube and social media. I actually wanted to create videos, but I felt just a bit timid. I didn't know what to do. So at some point, I just got started. I just thought, okay, this TikTok thing is emerging. Let's just do a channel. So I did. And I actually grew it in a couple of months to like 50,000 followers. But I wasn't happy. Even though the metrics were great, I didn't feel energetically aligned with what I'm doing. So I stopped and I tried another channel, and it was a travel channel. And I really enjoyed it. I loved making videos on the run and be more cinematic and do long form content. And still, it didn't really work with my life because I couldn't really travel all the time. But I learned a lot of things, and I stuck with video. I knew, okay, I'm onto something. I want to do videos. I want to do YouTube. And I ended up having several channels. I think this now is my 4th channel, and hopefully the last one for now, because now I feel I found something that I want to do for the next 5 to 10 years. So now I am actually feeling committed to do this. And if you look through the traditional lens, many people could tell me, hey, you failed the first channel. You failed the second channel. You have been just beginning things and not pushing through these things. And I have struggled with these thoughts myself. But it's nonsense, because I know I just wanted to experiment, right? I never had the ambition to have a successful channel just for the sake of it. I want to express myself. I want to share something. But if the stuff that I'm sharing doesn't align with what I want to be and become, then I'm just grateful for the experience and for the learnings I had. And now I'm doing the channel I feel most aligned with, and that is something that can grow with me. And I'm super happy with that, and that's how I got through experimentation. But I didn't use a framework. I just followed my intuition, followed my curiosity, and I was willing to just test and try, right? So the mindset is not just having this pact, following this framework. It's a way to see the world. And by just being curious and by just, trying to find answers by action and by asking yourself, how do I feel doing this? You will get there. I wish you all the best trying that thing. And that's it for now from my part. I really hope you enjoyed that stuff. And get in touch with me if you want. See you in the next video. I would love to see you again. Bye bye. Have a great day.